All right, if you're a dividend investor, I'm sure you've done this. You've looked at a stock's yield and thought, is this any good? But today we're going to pull back the curtain on a secret metric, one that really uncovers the true explosive power of holding great companies for the long haul.
So let's start with a classic question. Picture this. You find a great company, and it's paying a 3% dividend yield. And you think, hey, that's not bad, right? It's definitely better than nothing. But here's the thing. For a patient long-term investor, that 3% you see today, that is not the whole story. Not even close. It's not your real yield.
And this right here, this is where things get interesting. I mean, how on earth is it possible for two people holding the exact same stock to get such insanely different returns? One person gets 3%, while someone who's held it for 15 years is getting a massive 46% return in dividends alone. It looks impossible, right? But believe me, this is the secret to building serious long-term wealth. So what's the answer to this puzzle? Well, it's a powerful but actually really simple metric that, most people just completely overlook. It's called yield on cost, and you can think of it as your secret weapon for understanding how your own personal dividend machine actually works. Okay, let's break this down. Yield on cost, or YOC for short, is beautiful in its simplicity. It's just your current annual dividend divided by your original purchase price. And here's the absolute key, the most important part, your original purchase price. That number is locked in. It's set in stone. It never, ever changes. This timeline just perfectly illustrates how this whole thing works. Just imagine, you bought a share for 100 rupees way back in 2010. At the time, the dividend was 2 rupees, so your yield on cost was 2%. But just watch what happens over time. As the company does well and keeps raising that dividend, your personal yield just goes up and up and up. By 2025, you're earning a whopping 12% on your original money. Meanwhile, a brand new investor today might look at the same stock and only see that little 3% yield we talked about.
So, you're probably thinking, okay, how does this magic actually happen? Is it just a waiting game? Well, yeah, patience is a huge part of it, for sure. But there are also some really powerful forces working behind the scenes, actively supercharging your income.
Yeah, there's basically an engine driving all this growth, and it has three, let's call them magic forces, that work together to turn a tiny yield into something massive over time.
Okay, so these three forces are all working together, but everything, and I mean everything, starts with you picking a solid, profitable company. First up, it's pretty straightforward. The company makes more money, profits go up, and they increase the dividend they pay you. Simple enough, right? But then you get the really cool stuff. The company might issue bonus shares. That's literally giving you new shares for free. Or they do a stock split, which turns your one share into, say, 2 or 3. The bottom line is these actions multiply the number of shares you own, and you didn't have to spend a single extra rupee. And this whole amazing cycle is just fueled by the company being successful, which means they have more cash to give back to you, the owner.
All right, so the theory sounds great, doesn't it? But the real question is, does this actually happen in the real world? Let's move past the hypotheticals and look at some real household name Indian companies. Let's see the proof in the pudding.
And first up, we have a true household name, a company that's a favorite for so many long-term investors, ITC.
Okay, so check this out. If you'd put your money into ITC way back in 2009, you would have gotten a bonus issue in 2010 and then a stock split in 2016. And the result is just incredible. That one share you bought, just by being patient, it's now become 3 shares.
And this is where the real magic happens to your cost basis. So you paid around 90 rupees for that single share in 2009. But now, because you have 3 shares, what's your effective cost per share? It's dropped all the way down to just 30 rupees. I mean, your original cost just got slashed by 2/3.
And now for the big payoff. When you take ITC's recent dividend and you calculate it against that super low effective cost of 30 rupees, what do you get? You get a yield on cost of around 46%. 46%. That's just a massive, massive income stream from that one little investment you made years ago.
Okay, next up, let's turn to the world of tech and look at an absolute giant, Tata Consultancy Services, or as we all know it, TCS.
TCS is another company that has been fantastic at rewarding its long-term investors. You see, back in 2018, they did a 1-for-1 bonus issue. What does that mean? For every single share you owned, they just gave you another one for free, doubling your stake, just like that.
And once again, look what that does to your cost. That original price tag of about 560 rupees per share from 2009? Well, thanks to that bonus, your effective cost was sliced right in half, down to 280 rupees.
So what's the result of all this? For someone who invested in TCS back in 2009, their yield on cost today is over 20%. And remember, this is on top of the absolutely massive growth in the stock price itself. So you're getting this amazing income stream and incredible growth. It's the best of both worlds.
All right, for our last deep dive example, let's look at another tech titan, Infosys. And this is where the power of compounding just gets, well, kind of crazy.
I mean, this is where it gets truly mind-boggling. Infosys didn't just have one bonus issue, or two. They had 3 separate one-for-one bonus issues since 2009. Just think about that. Your single share from back then has multiplied completely on its own into 8 shares today. And you didn't have to lift a finger or invest another paisa.
This right here is a huge aha moment. That original purchase price of roughly 2,200 rupees, it's been absolutely crushed down to an effective cost of just 275 rupees a share. I mean, if you ever wanted a picture of what patience and compounding looks like in the real world, this is it.
And that incredible drop in your cost basis means a yield on cost of over 15% for that early Infosys investor. You see the pattern here, right? Find these great, growing companies, hold on tight, and just let these forces do their incredible work for you.
So, okay, we've seen yields of 20%, 30%, even an incredible 46%. It kind of makes you wonder, what's the ultimate payoff here? What's the holy grail for a patient dividend investor?
It's this. This is the goal. A yield on cost of over 100%. Let that sink in. This means you were getting paid more in dividends every single year than your entire original investment cost you in the first place. And this isn't some fantasy, it's real. Take Asian Paints. Someone who had the foresight to buy it back in the year 2000 now has a yield on cost of over 120%. They get their initial investment paid back to them in dividends almost every single year.
So all of this brings us back to one final really important question. It's not about that 3% yield that you see flashing on a screen today. The real question, the one you should be asking yourself, is this. If I find truly great growing companies, and if I have the patience to just hold on, what will my yield on cost look like in 15 or even 20 years from now? And the answer to that question might just completely change the way you think about investing forever.